I'm so excited to tell you about the Kroger OptUp app. OptUp is your virtual assistant for healthier shopping. I've been using OptUp with my grocery shopping, and now I'm more mindful as I make food choices for my family at Kroger. What I love the most is how OptUp tracks my household score automatically based off what I'm purchasing at Kroger. OptUp also makes recommendations for healthier alternatives and nutrition facts of the foods we purchase. OptUp is very easy to use. Download it today in the App Store or Google Play. Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Welcome back, everyone. It's a really exciting edition of the Produce Moms Podcast. First, we are so excited to be coming back at you in 2019 with more exciting guests, more great content, and hopefully more inspiration for you all as you try to consume more fruits and vegetables yourself and certainly serve more fruits and vegetables to your family. Today, we have a really remarkable woman as our guest. Her name is Julie Cates. She is a 6th grade teacher. For anyone who has followed the Produce Moms closely, more than likely you have seen Julie. She is one of our super fans. So you've probably seen her name in our Twitter feed or in our Instagram feed. Julie has done some amazing stuff with the content that we produce, specifically the Produce Challenge, and turning that free tool that we produce, that calendar tool, into a classroom tool in a way to teach academic standards to children. So really excited to have Julie on today. For her work, she has been recognized. Actually, in 2015, Julie was named California's Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year. And for anyone listening that knows anything about ag, you know how hard it must be to get that distinction and honor in the state of California. Very proud of everything Julie does. And Julie, welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, and thank you for being our guest.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited about all of the inventions and creations that are going on within the Produce Mom organization, and so I really appreciate you having me today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a joy. I mean, and really for all of our listeners and for you, Julie, you were one of the very first people that saw the Produce Challenge as something that's, that was larger than its own life. We started it as the founder of that effort. I remember when I told, the team that was working on TPM, we should do a calendar tool that we publish at the top of every month that talks about, that encourages people to eat a different fruit or vegetable every single day. And we can use it as a way to promote seasonality as well as increase consumption in both variety and volume. Obviously, my idea was well received and supported because we've been doing that calendar now since, 2013, I think it has been several years. But why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners today about when you realized there was more to that, and how you got that inspiration for, how the Produce Challenge could be something that you use in your classroom.
Okay, well, I do want to go back in history just a little bit because I sort of discovered you by accident when you were a quote mommy blogger back in the day, because I worked for the university extension as a nutrition educator. And I got Twitter to follow someone in the White House garden. And as part of that, I followed the produce news. And here you were, you won this award. And I checked you out and I said, oh, what is this thing that they're doing over there? And I remember I direct messaged you like a fangirl moment. Hi, I love it. Can I be a part of this? And when I returned to school and was credentialed and got my own classroom, I asked for permission. I noticed that you did a lot of positive work in schools with the Find Your Favorite campaign. And I just thought that was so amazing. And so I remember asking, could I use that name, but hashtag it and use it on Fridays? And so I used the Produce Challenge calendar to sort of guide what we would try on Fridays that would become favorites for kids. And the first year, it just sort of exploded because the kids, first couple things we tried were super basic, like apples, but then they got curious. That's how we tried dragon fruit and I don't know, turnips or something. I don't recall at the time, but they were just so enthusiastic about it. And then they are asking, and then they're asking their parents, and then we try it, and then they want to buy it and eat it at home. And that's like the most important component.
It is. Yeah, it's carrying over into the class and from your classroom to their homes. And that's evident, Julie, when I had the opportunity to come out to your stomping grounds and attend the Ag in the Classroom convention, it was evident the influence that you personally have made on the students. Here it was summertime, and you had students from your classroom who came to this education convention and conference to share with me how the Produce Challenge has changed their lives at home and their eating habits at home. And that was when I always knew you were special, but when those students came and met me during their summer vacation to share how much they and their family enjoyed the Produce Challenge, I was like, wow, this woman moves mountains. So that's the kind of teacher we have on the show today, you guys. Julie, if you don't mind, tell our listeners, because I don't think I actually think I missed saying this. Let's explain where you're located. Because that also kind of plays into your story, because you wouldn't think, knowing, from the ag perspective, you wouldn't think that so many of the students in your district have gone without some of these, even basic commodities that you're exposing them to.
Right. That's a really valid point. So I live in the Central Valley of California, in Tulare County, which sort of battles with Fresno County to be the #1 ag producing county in the United States. We grow a lot of fruit, stone fruits, citrus fruits, nut products. We're #2 in dairy production in the whole United States. But we also live in these sort of food deserts. I'm not sure if the audience is familiar with that, but a lot of these rural areas might only have like a gas station or a mini-mart, which just sells chips and sodas, and they don't have access. Or in the urban area where I teach, I have a lot of low-income students. We're at Title I school, and they just don't have the access because, as we all know, sometimes the produce costs more than the sometimes foods. And so, I've had 6th graders who have never eaten a strawberry, or they've never had romaine lettuce. Or my first year, I had a student, she had never had peaches, which, was all by accident. We tried it, we did math, unit pricing, we did the whole thing. So she ate the peach and she loved it. I said, I've never had peaches before. She's 12. They're on school lunch tray every day. I said, how do you never? Oh, it was weird. I just threw it out. And that was just like a big moment for me. So
yeah, you should be very proud of what you do. You should be very proud of what you do. So I will kind of give everyone a quick backstory of that moment when Julie previously spoke about reaching out to me on Twitter when she found me through her efforts of, following more entities that are serving the produce industry. And when she reached out to me, she immediately had that vision and foresight of, I want to recreate what you are doing in your hometown of Indianapolis, Indiana, in my school district. And I want to figure out how, as an educator who is touching, the lives of hundreds of students on an annual basis, how can I take the work that you've created, which is very marketing forward. We had a school show through Find Your Favorite and a poster campaign through Find Your Favorite. And then we had obviously the Produce Challenge, which was our monthly calendar tool. And that's really when I'll never forget our think tank sessions. We'd hop on a call and you would talk about how you felt you could use the Produce Challenge to actually teach, a math lesson. So share a little bit more with our listeners today, if you don't mind, on some of the academic standards that you have been able to fulfill and teach while using the Produce Challenge as, your primary resource for that lesson.
Sure, absolutely. So in addition just to the idea that kids are trying new foods and they're stepping out of their comfort zone, which will sort of forward into other areas of their life, like if they eat the apple and it's successful, they'll try something new academically or socially. We would find a fruit or a vegetable on the calendar that would be in season for us and reasonable for us to purchase, because that's something to always consider for our audience. And then I would apply math to it. So for example, I save peas and or sugar snap peas and green beans for the math unit when we are doing ratios, because it's just a fun activity to give every kid a pea pod, let them open them up, write out their ratios 3 different ways, average the amount of peas per pods in the classroom, and then eat the peas and then eat them fresh, eat them cooked. Write about them. So I'm addressing informative writing ELA standards. We use zucchini and yellow squash for division of fractions, and then we toss it into the crock pot and make solution soup. It's just super fun, and unit rates is always great. You can compare pricing on the fresh commodity versus canned or frozen, and get the price per ounce and what's the best buy. Grocery store shopping. It's amazing. It's just a nice, useful tool that parents really love it. And they've come back to me and said, my son never ate vegetables before, and now he eats all these things.
Isn't that amazing? That has to feel so good. I mean, it makes me feel good. It's the reason why we continue to make sure that you get the printed calendar from us as a, sponsored resource from the Produce Moms. We are very thankful for the work you do. And I hope that we can always support that effort that you do. And actually, as my business grows, I want to do more to support what you're doing in the classroom. I really believe in what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit too about your recognition as California Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year. So that took place in 2015, and I can certainly tell, as someone who's a fangirl of your work, how you have assembled quite the following for the work that you're doing to promote Ag in the Classroom. Let's go ahead and start at the beginning. Explain what Ag in the Classroom is, especially for any of our educators who are listening that more than likely aren't taking advantage or engaging with this national program.
Yes. Okay. So Ag in the Classroom is a national organization, and then they have state entities, and it's an education extension of Farm Bureau. And Farm Bureaus came out of the University Cooperative Extension Program, or vice versa, I'm not sure, back in 1906. And California has a huge Ag in the Classroom program with plenty of online tools available, a lot of fact-based snippets about commodities and processes. And so I was working with them. It was my first year teaching. I'm an old new teacher. And I just started using Twitter, active on social media with the Produce Mom and the Produce Challenge calendar. And I applied for a grant to pay for all these tastings, which are not super cheap to do, but it's my passion, so I do it now anyway without a grant. And as part of that process, they were really pleased with how much media attention I was getting, and that's why I earned that distinction as the Educator of the Year. And then that gave me an even bigger platform, and I got to talk to farmers and go to the national convention, and it's just been an amazing turn of events since then.
Yeah, it's been inspiring to watch. Let's talk a little bit too, as the recognition for the work you're doing in your classroom expands. I know one program that I've really admired that you've done has been your work to educate your students. Again, you guys, we're talking about the Central Valley of California, where citrus fruits are certainly grown, a large percentage of citrus fruits. And Julie, as well as at least one of her educator colleagues, there might have been more people involved with this, but she created an interactive game to help educate her students on HLB, which is the citrus greening disease. It's one of the number one risks and threats to the domestic citrus crop in the United States. So Julie, if you could explain a little bit more about that and how you continue to build what you're doing to raise awareness of the critical issues and priorities for the fresh produce industry, all while teaching your students your academic standards as a sixth grade teacher.
Yes. So I have a teacher partner, Amy Downs. She is an incredible educator, and I learn from her every day. And she asked me would I partner with her on a technology project because she knew that I did agriculture. And so I introduced her to this huge problem, this crisis level problem that we have, which is the Asian citrusillid, the insect, the invasive pest species that is causing the Wang Lang Bing disease. And anyway, a lot of sort of Taylor Swift, Starbucks writing on napkins later, we created a breakout EDU game. And since then, Amy's taken it even farther. She's so innovative, and now I'm learning things from her, and I'm getting fold scope microscopes and grants for different things because we really want to educate the public about this invasive pest species, and meet all of the next generation science standards in doing so, because it's a local problem that affects a global market. And, these insects can wipe out a tree in 5 years, and whole orchard, in fact. And so we really want the students to become citizen scientists.
Well, and it's working because the California Citrus Mutual is supporting the work that you're doing. That's a big deal. So they're supporting you both with resources, financial as well as, hard resources that all teachers need. So that's really exciting, and warm congratulations to you and Amy for your ongoing efforts with that. And a ton of gratitude. I know anyone who's listening from the produce industry, your heart just has to be warmed listening to how authentically passionate Julie and her community of teachers are for raising awareness of our industry's critical issues and teaching academic standards in the process. So it's really a remarkable approach to education, and something that I hope is in our future, Julie. I really hope that in 2019 and beyond, we could almost formalize the work that we've done together and help teachers, have some sort of turnkey, here's how you use the produce challenge as an in-classroom tool, with some examples, as well as where you find the academic standards can be married up. I know that's so important. We've started to get a little bit more into educator downloads at TPM. We did one heading into New Year for 12 grapes at the New Year. We worked with HMC Farms, one of actually the grape growers in the Central Valley. They're very mindful of how they can do more with education.
That was a great resource.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to put together. And, we had a ton of feedback from our audience, a lot, not just from your traditional school educators, but we had a lot of our followers who are homeschool parents, who are homeschooling their children, who are saying, please keep resources like this coming. I need more stuff like this. So it's my hope to all of our listeners, and with my favorite teacher on our show as our guest today, it's my hope, you guys, that we can do just that for you. Continue to create, one-page resources for anyone that, wants that type of educational downloadable for their children, but also work more strategically with Julie to figure out how we can turn the produce challenge into a curriculum offering, something that educators everywhere can use to not only engage and participate in the Ag in the Classroom program, but also, like I've said previously, leverage the critical issues of the fresh produce industry. Consumption of produce among children is at the top of that list, and use this tool as a way to, encourage children to eat more fresh produce, all while teaching academic standards. So that's one of my goals for the future.
And can I throw a new piece at you today?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're familiar with it because you made a video for me, but something that I'm working with currently is called Flipgrid. It's a video discussion platform for, in their words, pre-K to PhD.
Yeah.
And I've sort of launched a grid. Well, I have mini grids because it's an academic thing I use in my classroom for both formative assessment and student voice, especially in math. I love it, and reading, all topics. And so I've launched a Produce Challenge grid, and I've sort of been recording my my hashtag Try It Tuesdays from the Produce Challenge calendar. And I've been putting it out there, and I think because it's a video platform, adults are a little bit reluctant to watch themselves make a video, but people are watching it, and then they're responding on Twitter like, I never thought of using fuyu persimmons in a salad. And so if I can just get one more teacher to start trying something, even if it's once a month, and just posting that calendar and adding it to their Google Classroom, because we don't all need paper. We can start utilizing electronic versions of the Produce Mom materials. I mean, the science, the STEM book is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we've sold, that was actually recommended by the National Science Teachers Association, our Science Fair STEM Project ebook, and it's been downloaded like 40,000 times plus. So we agree with you. It is an amazing resource, and we're really thrilled that we're able to offer it. All of these resources, you guys, are available on the producemoms.com. And as Julie knows, the Produce Challenge is definitely a tool that we will always make sure is a free, easy to download resource for educators. And I love what you're doing with Flipgrid. I'm glad you brought that up. You're definitely a tech savvy educator. So I will keep that in mind. If there are any educators out there listening who are inspired by this podcast, please reach out to me. The contact form on the producemoms.com comes directly to my inbox. You can also email me directly. My email is Lori, that's Lori, at theproducemoms.com. I do my best to answer all emails right away, and would welcome any of your feedback. If there's any teachers that want to, form a think tank or an alliance with Julie and, enhance the work that she's doing and get involved with some of the same programs that she's done in California with success, we would certainly do anything we can at TPM to support that effort. So very proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've done. I'm teary-eyed, but I appreciate it. It's been
good. You're
the long road, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. And, Julie I said earlier, I know, Julie, when I actually first met you in person, it was at that conference. And at that time, your overall impressions on Twitter for your efforts was closing in on 10 million. So I'm certain that you've surpassed that. I don't know if you've kept track of your analytics because you're so busy, doing noble things like teaching children and inspiring children everywhere. But your reach and the work you've done and the way you've strategically leveraged social media and free resources like the producemoms.com is noble. Any idea what your current analytics or reach are?
No, I haven't been looking. I've been trying. I just want to do the job, and I just want to make sure it's like, so as I mentioned, I'm an older person. So I'm an older new teacher, and I just am sort of waking up to make sure that to teaching and making sure that I've met all the standards for those kids. So my principal, Natalie Taylor, is amazing. She loves creativity and innovation, but she always wants to know, like, what's the outcome? What are the kids going to learn? So I always try to make sure that the Produce Challenge is also meeting all of my standards. So that's really, so I'm not looking as much anymore at like, ooh, am I popular? That's not important.
Yeah, well, you know what? I had plenty of mentors tell me when you worry less about your likes and followers and more about your mission, that's when you'll know you're authentically there and you're there for the long haul. And it's true. But I will say, as someone who has to spend a lot of time in web analytics, if 2 years ago you were at 10 million, it goes without saying that you're certainly well past that now. So I'll estimate you're at least 14 million, but I'll look it up later. I have the software. I can look it up. But in all seriousness, Julie, I think the work you're doing is remarkable. Before we close out today's show, I would love to have some closing remarks from you for any teachers. What's the one piece of advice that you would give them, or your one wish, knowing what you know and experiencing what you've experienced in your classrooms, where you're getting kids to try even what most of our listeners probably consider commonplace fruits and vegetables. You're getting them to try them for the first time. What's your one piece of advice or one wish for all educators out there?
Only one.
No, you can. No, come on. There's no rules. You can say more than one.
I would say definitely just try it yourself, and don't be afraid to just give them lettuce, even iceberg lettuce. There are students, as I mentioned, they've never tried a strawberry, or they've never tried romaine lettuce, or they only eat green beans from a can. And bring it. It depends on your school. We can't have a lot of cooking at our school, but I bring the crock pot anyway. And throw some butter and garlic in there and toss some veggies in. Your whole classroom will smell great, and the kids will try it. And if they're allowed to peel the carrots before you eat them, or peel the oranges, or whatever it is, there's a huge buy-in, and they'll try it. And make it culturally relevant to your area. We did baba ganoush. We assembled it in class because I had some Middle Eastern students. Huge hit. Kids they're all eating eggplant.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Just don't be afraid to try it. Just try it. Take the produce challenge.
I love you. Well, good. Thank you. So where can all of our listeners go to find you on social media? This Twitter and Instagram handle we've talked about. What is it?
Oh my gosh. So on Twitter, it's just at Cates, CATES _Julie. And on Instagram, I don't know all these things by heart. I think it's Teacher Cates.
I think it's Teacher Cates too. You know what? We'll put it in the show notes. Again, a woman who's so focused on her mission, but truly the type of woman that's doing work that matters the most. Teachers are always at the top of that list. You can talk about the work that we all do, and really the work that teachers do it's pretty amazing. And I think everyone listening has a teacher that changed their life. And I know for a fact, after seeing Julie in action and meeting some of her students on their summer break, Julie, you're definitely a teacher who's leaving a lasting, lifelong impression on a lot of your students and your whole community. So thank you. Yes, thank you for being here. That really concludes today's show. I'm really glad that you could be our guest. Any closing thoughts, or say the last goodbye? We always throw the mic back to our guests.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for having me, and for all the work that the team does at the Produce Mom, and for all of these podcasts. I'm learning a lot, new things, new products. And I just want to make sure teachers know, just try it. Just try the Produce Challenge. Taste something new. Try it Tuesday. Find your favorite Friday. Just do it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a Produce Mom in you because there's a Produce Mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.